land. Moses didn't make it to the promised land, but he talked to our people before he went to the promised land. He gave them a speech. Young lady, how you doing? Do you go to church? What church you go to? What denomination are you? First Baptist Church. Hey, come talk to me for a second. And my man, I want to show you something. Did you know that our people, our history is right here in the Bible? Did you know that? You know about Moses? Let my people go? Yeah. Who do you think those people were? Who do you think? The people in the Bible?
Oh, yeah, Hebrews.
Hebrews, okay. Israelites. The Bible calls us Israelites. We're teaching our history. Did you know that all that history was in the Bible? You never knew that. Yeah, you go to church? My man with the Lakers, you go to church? Have they ever taught you who you are according to the Bible? There's 18 nations of people on the planet. They're still here today, right? But which group do we belong to? What nationality would you call yourself? Like, if you could fill out an application, what would you fill out? African American. What about you? African American, black, colored, Negro, depending on how old you are. You remember they used to call us colored, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Right, but here's the problem. Why does our nationality change over the years? Like the Chinese man, for example. He's been Chinese for thousands of years. The Arab man can trace his lineage back thousands of years. Nobody's changing him from Arab to something else. No one's changing the Chinese man from Chinese to something else. Right. Why do our names change? I'm going to show you right now. And we're going to pick up where the church left off. After we came out of Egypt, this is what Moses said to the group of Israelites, right? Before they crossed over and went to the land of Canaan, right? Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day.
So God gave the children of Israel a set of rules to follow. Statutes, laws, commandments, right? How we treat each other, what kind of foods we eat, how do we dress. All of that was part of our culture. Black, African American, that's never a part of our culture. That was given to us. But it's saying if you won't listen to what God has to tell you, read.
That all these curses,
all these what?
All these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So my man with the Lakers, is a curse, is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's a bad thing, right? What about you? A bad thing, right? So Moses is telling the children of Israel, who were just slaves in Egypt for over 400 years, came out, wandered the wilderness for over 40 years, right? Well, 400 years in Egypt, 40 years in the wilderness, about to go to the promised land. He's saying, if you don't listen to God, right, then these curses are going to happen to your people, only your people. Right. Who's he talking to? Israel, the children of Israel. So let's find out what's going to happen. Verse 15, Rick.
Verse 15, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
It's going to be obvious who this is, who these curses are going to affect. Read.
Verse 16, cursed shalt thou be in the city.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city. So Moses is telling a certain group of people that you're going to be cursed in the city for breaking his commandments, for not following what he's telling you to do, right? Now, let me ask you a question. Right here in Birmingham, Alabama, right? Let's take a look around right here in the city. We're in the city, right? Okay. It's saying we're going to be cursed. How are we going to be cursed? How are we cursed in the city? Our people. Poverty, okay. What do you say? You've been around for a while.
I'm about to say the same thing, poverty.
Poverty, right?
Yeah.
You think that's in the Bible?
Yeah.
Let's go to verse 43.
Verse 43, the stranger that is among thee.
So when we came out of Egypt, there were some strangers that came with us, right? They said, oh, we saw how your God destroyed the Egyptians, destroyed their economy, brought all these plagues upon Egypt. We want to go with you. We're going with you, right? So we had a mixed multitude amongst us, right? They were strangers to us. They were not our people. Read.
The stranger that is among thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt be brought down very low.
Poverty, curse in the city. We're brought down very low. Do we own businesses in our own community? No. What about you? You've been around longer. No, right? Who owns these stores? Who owns these businesses? It's not our people. You said Arabs? That's one of the strangers, another nation. Well, who you say own the nail shops? Chinese, right? Who you say own the tire shops? Mexicans are our people. But the majority of these businesses, the majority of everything set up around us, the establishments, the schools, they're owned by other nations, strangers, right? Read again.
Verse 43, the stranger that is among thee shall get above thee very high, and thou shalt be brought down very low.
Down very, very low. You look downtown Birmingham, you see the buildings, the high, you see those high buildings, we saw them coming in, right? They up there looking down at you. Like, who are the office execs up in there? Who are the CEOs, right? And who are the janitors? Who are the people who are the servants, right? If we are up in those buildings, we're not running those buildings, right? We're the workers, we're the hired ones, but they're the ones that owns these corporations. They're up high, they're looking down on us low, and that's going into a lot of different things. So what I'm saying is the Bible is telling you our curses. Go to 32, verse 32.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
Who did that happen to? Whose sons, when we came over here, whose sons and daughters was given to another people? What happens if, let's say, you're deemed to be an unfit parent? You got any kids? You got 2 kids, right? You got kids? Grandkids? Right? Okay, kids. But let's say when they were younger, right? And someone deemed you to be an unfit parent, right? Isn't there an agency that can come and take your kids? Yeah. Is there anything you can do to get them back? Yeah. You can't. I mean, if they're saying your kids are coming with me, can you say no? No. No, they can take your kids, right? But guess what? When else did that happen? During slavery, we were sold. Our families were split up, right? Our kids were taken. Sold to Master such and such in Mississippi, sold to Master such and such or Jones in Alabama, right? Our sons and daughters are given to another people. Read.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fare with longing for them all the day long.
Because you want your kids back. Bad, right? Anybody take your kids? How you think you feel, man? Somebody say, you know what? Your kids, I'm going to take your 2 kids, and I'm going to ship them across to California to some man you don't know, right? That's not of our people. How would you feel about that? It wouldn't feel good. Read that part again.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fare with longing for them all the day long.
Because you can't get them back. Read.
And there shall be no might in thine hand.
Do we have a military to represent the color, the black, whatever you check off for a job application? Do they have an army to represent them? Do we have someone that represents us in the UN as a people? Do we have someone to represent us? You look at politicians, right? They can't really represent just us. I'm talking about someone that represents only our people and say, you know what? I'm going to come through and I see you guys are in poverty. I'm going to change the situation. Who can do that? Who do we have that can do that? Who are our leaders? Our leaders right now today would be musicians, right? Athletes, right? Who do we have as leaders? They give us leaders, right? Like you look at other nations, their leaders may be scientists, they may be, major politicians, they may be chemists, you know what I'm saying? But our leaders, who do we look up to? Who do we have? Any man that stood up for our people, what happened to him? Martin Luther King, what happened to him? Assassinated. That's a curse. Your leaders get assassinated. What about Malcolm X? Assassinated, right? And the list goes on and on and on, right? Read.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
Do we own a lot of land as a people? No. We had, guess what? There were times when we had whole nations, right? We had coasts, we had beaches, right? Israel, our hometown, we're not even taught that in school. We so far removed from that. But it's been, what happens to our land?
The fruit of thy land,
meaning anything you produce, like let's say you produce apples, oranges, orchards, anything you can sell to make your nation a rich nation. What happens?
And all thy labors,
and all the work you do,
shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
Who did that happen to? That happened to our people. Read.
And thou shalt be only oppressed.
Only oppressed. That's the state of our people now. As the majority, we're all oppressed. All of our people are oppressed. Even the ones that think they got something, right? Look at Bill Cosby. You can never rise above the state of your people, right? When Bill Cosby got convicted, right? And they said, you going to jail, boy. Was there any person that could represent him to get him off? He had a lawyer, but what they do? They disbarred her. She was too good. They said, oh no, we ain't gonna have another OJ, right? She got disbarred, right? What about Oprah, when they call her the N-word, right? When she went into, where'd she go to, a hotel? Something lavish she went into when she was in France, right? These curses will follow you no matter where you go. She was called a nigga, right? No one could make them apologize because it happened to our people. The Bible said we're going to be cursed. Read.
And thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always.
Always. We're going to be crushed. Anything we try to do is going to be crushed. Who's speaking? God. Read.
So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see.
And we should be mad about this. But guess what? Most of our people are docile, right? For fear. Most of our people are like, okay, well, it was a long time ago. Let's get along, go along to get along. You remember that, right? Because we're crushed. Anything we do, we gets crushed. Look at Black Wall Street. What happened with Black Wall Street? You remember that? You remember that, right? Remember the Gap Band? Those three initials, GAP, it stood for different streets in Black Wall Street, right? But that whole city, what happened? We tried to come together, right? Just like that, a lot of people talk about now, that's why it's a joke. They say, oh, what we need to get out of this situation is economics, my brother. But guess what? When we did have economics, we was trading with other countries through Black Wall Street, right? We was making so much money, they said they had to shut it down, right? But guess what? The Bible is saying the exact same thing that happens. So this is how we know what's going on in this state. How? Through the Holy Bible. And this is the same Bible that's in your churches. Right. Why aren't they bringing this out? Read.
The Lord shall smite thee in the knees, and in the legs with a sore botch, they cannot be healed.
Going into sicknesses. Go to 48.
Verse 48.
46. Where you at? Go ahead.
Verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder.
So just like right now, you look at the sign that says, what is it? West Side Market, right? It lets you know where you are. It lets you know, identifies what's in that lot right there. West Side Market, right? You got the different businesses in there. Same way, the Most High said these curses are going to be a sign that you know who you are according to the Bible. You understand? Read.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
So even though Moses spoke thousands of years ago, he's saying in the future, if you stop keeping God's commandments, these curses are going to be what identify who you are. And who is he talking to? Go back to Deuteronomy 1:1. These signs identify these people that he's talking to. Who's he talking to?
Deuteronomy chapter 1 verse 1. These be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel on this side Jordan.
All Israel. So Moses is talking to who? The Israelites, right? The Israelites, right? So if Moses was talking to the Israelites, and these curses only pertain to the Israelites, and you can identify with these curses today that don't happen to other people, who would that make you? An Israelite. What about you? An Israelite. So just like who had that song, Don't Call Me Black No More? Kendrick Lamar, right? You are not, from this day forward, you are not black.
Right.
You're not colored.
Right.
You're not Negro.
Right.
You have just learned that you are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
You understand that?
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.